especially people outside of the MA18 program. My name is Megan.
And I'm Melissa.
And basically the purpose of today is we're going to give you a brief introduction as to what cultures of thinking is. And when I say brief, I mean brief. Because cultures of thinking is huge. We could sit here for days to try and delve into it. So we're just going to kind of give you a broad overview of what it is. And then what we're really excited to do is share some thinking routines with you that you can use in your classroom when you walk out of this conference today. They apply to every grade level. They apply to any content that you're teaching. So it should be applicable for everybody. Now the essence of cultures of thinking is to make the thinking process, which is invisible to us, visible. And the reason we want to make our students' thinking visible is because the more we know about what they're thinking and how they're thinking, the more we can foster their thinking and learning from there. And in this book, so this is what we're referring to in our thinking routines today. So it's called Making Thinking Visible. And this is a resource for teachers on particular thinking routines you can use in your classroom to help make your students' thinking visible. And we're going to walk you through two of them today. There's a lot in here. This is a great resource. And we'll give you some resources at the end that you can go to get more information. So, the first routine we're going to go through today is called CSI. And CSI stands for color, symbol, and image. And the purpose of this routine is to help students synthesize and organize their thinking. So to help pull the big ideas out of pieces of text or audio or video, and also to help them organize that thinking in their head. So the first thing that we're going to do today is we are going to listen to this, I believe, essay. And it's by Felipe Morales, and it's called A Priceless Lesson in Humility. So I just want you to listen through this, and then I'll walk you through the rest of the routine.
Felipe Morales is generally a humble man, as you will hear in his voice. In fact, he was hesitant about writing and reading aloud because of his challenges with English. But his humility failed him once, and he's never forgotten it. Writing for our series was his way of ensuring it doesn't happen again. Here is Felipe Morales with his essay for This I Believe.
A few years ago, I took a sightseeing trip to Washington, D.C. I saw many of our nation's treasures, and I also saw a lot of our fellow citizens on the street, unfortunate ones, like panhandlers and homeless folks. Standing outside of the Ronald Reagan Center, I heard a voice say, "Can you help me?" When I turned around, I saw an elderly blind woman with her hand extended. In a natural reflex, I reached into my pocket, pulled out all my loose change, and placed it on her hand, without even looking at her. I was annoyed at being bothered by a beggar. But the blind woman smiled and said, "I don't want your money. I just need help finding the post office." In an instant, I realized what I had done. I acted with prejudice. I judged another person simply for what I assumed she had to be. I hated what I saw in myself. This incident reawakened my core beliefs. It reaffirmed that I believe in humility, even though I had lost it for a moment. The thing I had forgotten about myself is that I am an immigrant. I left Honduras and arrived at the US at the age of 15. I started my new life with 2 suitcases, my brother and sister, and a strong, no-nonsense mother. Through the years, I have been a dishwasher, roofer, cashier, mechanic, pizza delivery driver, among many other humble jobs, and eventually I became a network engineer. In my own life, I have experienced many open acts of prejudice. I remember a time, at age 17, I was a busboy, and I heard a father tell his little boy that if he did not do well in school, he will end up like me. I have also witnessed the same treatment of family and friends, so I know what it's like, and I should have known better. But now, living in my American middle-class lifestyle, it is too easy to forget my past, to forget who I am, where I have been, and lose sight of where I want to be going. That blind woman on the streets of Washington, D.C. cured me of my self-induced blindness. She reminded me of my belief in humility and to always keep my eyes and heart open. By the way, I helped that lady to the post office, and in writing this essay, I hope to thank her for the priceless lesson.
Felipe Morales with his essay for This I Believe. Morales hopes his experience will be instructive to his children, of which he and his wife have 3. We recorded Morales between trips to the hospital where they are expecting a 4th any time now. We invite you to visit npr.org/thisibelieve where you...
Okay, so here's what I'd like you to do now. On a sticky note, so there's sticky notes and pens in the middle of each table. I want you to take one sticky note, and there's a lot of big ideas inside of this essay. I want you to think about one, and I want you to write that big idea down on that sticky note. I'm going to give you about 2 minutes. Just kind of think through what big ideas stand out and write one down. With this big idea in mind, so I want you to keep this in the back of your head, right there on your desk. What you're going to do is we're going to use these sticky notes some more. You're going to need a total of 3 more. And on each sticky note, so your first one, you're going to choose a color to represent that big idea. Think of a color that would help represent that big idea you wrote on the sticky note. On the second one, you're going to create a symbol to represent your big idea. And on the third one, you're going to draw an image to represent that big idea. Now, some of you might be wondering, well, what's the difference between a symbol and an image? A symbol is just a quick representation of that big idea. It's very simple. Kind of think of it as like an iPad app, an app on your phone. And an image is more complicated. Think of it as a scene, like in a picture or photograph. So you're going to lay out those 3 sticky notes, come up with a color for your big idea, a symbol, and an image. I'm going to give you about 4 minutes to do that, and then we're going to get up and share. here's the best part. What we're going to do is you are going to find one person in the room. So everyone's going to get up, and you are going to find one other person to talk with. And what's going to happen, each person is going to have 2 minutes to share their color, their symbol, the image they picked. The most important part is why you picked it. So you're going to explain what connection you made to the color and your big idea. What connection between your symbol and the big idea and the image and the big idea. You'll have 2 minutes to explain that. I would love it if you could use those 2 minutes to talk. Then we'll switch. The other person, your partner, will have 2 more minutes to share their ideas of what they chose and why. So the most important thing is explain why you came up with the color, symbols, and images you did. So if you could get up, just go and stand next to a partner, only one person. Do we give out the word? Yeah, it's fine if they know the big idea. So you'll share your big idea and then what your color image is. Yep. We're going to find one other person. Just stand next to them. I'm Nora. How you doing? Sure. Making sure I'm reading Yeah, that was 2 minutes per one person. If you haven't had the other person share, you start that. So your big idea, I just for me, I can see So why did you decide to have it not paid? I don't know, I just love blue. Why did you pick for the, I don't like for meaning is strong. Yeah. Like this is like, this can be
what it means, and then I know I stopped at the first meeting. I didn't find
Hey, you guys can kind of wrap up your conversation, finish up, and then head back to your seats. Sure. With your sticky notes, sorry. You can wrap up your conversations and then head back to your seats.
Yeah, I was like this one.
All right, what I'd like to ask some of you to do, if you would be willing and brave, is to have a couple of people, whether you want to share out why you chose a particular color, similar image, or something you heard from your partner. If we could just share out some of those ideas, just so other people can hear the connections you made, like what your big idea is and the connection you made.
Both of ours were basically judgment, and I chose the color white because I thought that we leave it blank. When you go into a conversation room or after your classroom, you don't need to have preconceived ideas of anything, and so my color was white. And then she had a smiley face that was not really a smiley face, but more of a mask, so that everyone was the same. So we shouldn't just go in to judge people. So I thought the similarities, although we crossed over from going from one idea to the other, the color and the symbol were different from different locations in your thing, but I thought that the crossover between the two conversations was really good.
I picked blue, and I was looking through the lens of judgment, and I thought if you stop judging and stop making assumptions about people, then you're more at peace and more ready to flow. So I kind of felt like water, you're ready to flow with everyone.
Okay. I like it. Oh, did anyone's ideas change? I've done workshops similar, like to this, and talking with other people, I know sometimes I still kind of like, oh, I kind of choose their color. Did anyone's ideas change in talking to someone else, like either their symbols or images or colors? Did you pretty much stick with what you started with?
I was like, oh, I like yellow, because he had yellow, and I'm like, oh, that's so great. And it was kind of like a glowing or warmth feeling too. So
I saw the perspective. I mean, I didn't want to change mine, but I was like, yeah, oh, that works too. That we didn't have that, whatever somebody thought, it made sense.
Right, seeing it in a different way.
I think what's interesting with both myself and Jessica there that we had two different colours, like green, you had orange, and already we're talking about 5 different colours here.
Right. So there's a lot of variance.
Yeah.
I worked with Jamie, and she took the perspective of thinking about her students, her context in the classroom, and I had thought more literally as just an experience as a person. And what's nice is that she left with the thought of, I have these big ideas and these images and symbols that I've chosen, but it pushed me, like now I want to think about, so what does that mean for me in my classroom? And so it's kind of just naturally from our conversation, it kind of leads me to think deeper into how that actually affects my context.
this thinking routine is to help students synthesize. So it's to help them pick out a big idea, and there may be many ideas, but to focus in on one. And then the other purpose of this routine is to help them organize. So they're taking these ideas and they're connecting them to background knowledge, things that they already know. So it's helping them to make those connections so it makes sense in their head. And talking is a huge piece in here. So this is just one of the routines, and Melissa is going to show you that. All right, the next activity we're going to do is called Zoom In. Zoom In, thank you, is introducing and exploring ideas. I have had some experience with this, but it's also a great tool to introduce a unit, a lesson, get them thinking in the flow of where you want them to go. I'll explain more at the end because I'd like to get to the activity and because it will make more sense. And you can just set those sticky notes or something. So, in your groups, if you're by yourself or you want to join another group, I want you to look at this picture, painting, and answer the two questions up on the board. So what do you see or notice? And what is your hypothesis or interpretation of what is happening? So I want you to discuss this with the people in your group. And we will share those ideas after a couple minutes of you guys being able to discuss with each other.
The guy at the end of the table. Did you notice that? It's like maybe the guy furthest to the right. Yeah.
I feel like someone's
Yeah, if you want to get up and get closer to the picture, free to do that. Yeah, I feel like it's right.
It's interesting one side does something,
So maybe he's got like money like scenes. Money and that's what
I don't know.
It's funny how you can see it. What does it look like? As council, trying to fit it into things, sort of things.
I'm looking at this very
They want to make it more big. All right, I hear some great discussion happening, but now I'd love if some of the groups would maybe share some of the things they talked about. Is there a group that would like to volunteer to share what they discussed? So things you know, I'll start just calling up.
We wondered if there was another, like another, is there another half of the picture? Like, is there some part that we're not seeing that might contribute to our understanding of the image? Talk about that.
something legal or legalistic is going on, that's what we talked about, that some deposition or something, there's a formality to the proceeding.
What do I see that makes you say that?
Well, the guy was sort of taking notes, sort of the serious expressions that everybody has,
And I heard this group talking about the same thing over here.
the judgment.
We were actually, we were noticing the different moves that each person kind of gave off, like Trapper the Brown at the front seems to be just more relaxed and he's not in uniform, whereas the rest of them seem more formal and a bit more engaged.
Yeah, ladies was very relaxed.
I noticed one at this table too was saying that with everyone in the picture, there was that one outlier towards the end that had different clothes on, wasn't wearing his hat. It looked like everybody else.
It's like you're getting off the street. Not have the uniform.
And he was not really interested, so I'm saying that.
All right, so we're gonna actually add on to this. And I'm gonna actually, as this group gets it, show you a little more of the picture. And I want you to talk about what new things you see. How does this change what you've been talking about? And what things are you still wondering? Feel free to get up like you said.
I think something big is happening. There again, like everyone's focusing on that. He seems to have made decisions. True. The story stuff too. He said maybe he was like in trouble or something. He was a criminal of some sort. A rebel. Well, now that there is something that's at first it looks like an outlier, but now there's this it's gonna be something like crazy. It's gonna be something remarkable. Like worth commenting. Maybe it's like a plan. Money. So the guy's like writing up a check right now.
They're all following the judgment
Treasure box. Listening to the arguments.
Yeah. Zoom in.
If you want to start wrapping up those conversations.
What is this thing that they're using? Do they just use
Okay, and change. I'd love to hear some of the group discussion and share it with the rest of us. So if anyone else wants to volunteer with maybe how they've changed their thought or what new things have changed how they are thinking about the portrait now or picture. Excuse me.
Well, the original guys that we're looking at seem to have completely shifted in their roles. Whereas we thought the important one was the one at the back writing something. Now we think the three against the wall, those are the guys, those are the judges or what have you, whatever's going on, those are the decision makers.
We couldn't make up our mind whether or not they were signed, the girl it was a marriage contract, or they were doing at the funeral when they're going over the will. And because it could be either one to us, and we kept going back and forth between that because she doesn't look happy, and he looks more engaged in what's going on over there, and the other guy's kind of laid back, and yeah.
Now, just hearing those suggestions, are you starting to kind of change what you're thinking again? Anything else?
Actually, someone in our group mentioned that depending on what pops up, it could look like the women are actually hiding behind a corner maybe, and hearing something that's making them upset.
And I heard one.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
I was going to say that typically certain artists tended to paint women in, no matter what they were doing in the scene, in that particular way, at that particular time, simply as a statement on their quality in the picture, regardless of what they were actually. So you'll see that's a very, very common. Younger females are crouching behind the matriarch in an awful lot of pictures from that period.
And in fact, that the two women are concerned for what? And that in that middle section there was somebody, maybe a child or another woman, that these men are standing trial over, whereas they can guess by their hats and the posthumous way it might be.
All right, we're going to take it one more step.
Oh.
And here's a new dimension to it, but there's still something missing. So what new things do you see, and how does this new information change or add to the developing story? Because a lot of you started the story already. You started playing out what is happening. But now this might change something.
Yeah, they're assessing her marrying something.
Go ahead and discuss among your groups. We'll give you a couple more minutes to
Yeah, I don't think it's I don't know if it's marriage. She's married. And she's going to have right. Why is it I think they're wrong. Why is it like the name? Wow, that's she really turned on. It's crazy.
I'm impressed you're using technology, but a little disappointed.
I wonder if it's someone like who's that's being like taken away to jail or something. Like something bad last night. She's on Is this the book that you choose from?
All right. Let's bring it back one more time, and I'd love to hear how
half of it and they gave me the rest of it.
But,
As a proof of concept.
But you're using technology, so it's
We
great.
already figured it out.
we have already figured it out.
How it's
Well, that's
time
good. All right, how have some of your stories changed?
When we actually moved, I personally, I think, moved from what I thought was America, the 1700s, back to England in the 1600s. Because the soldier, he's a promoted soldier.
So the dress that he's wearing.
Yeah,
the garment.
and so now it's back in the English Civil War. So it's some type of interrogation that's going on there in connection with the war. That's what I had got before I got the picture.
Did anyone else take it down a different path? We did. We were going to the witch trials. Anyone else? All right. The final picture is what you get to see. But now, you have to interpret what you're seeing. What are you seeing and what is happening in this picture? And what is it that makes you think so? And some of you still may have questions remaining. So discuss that in your group.
That's why the new thing happens there. That's why I thought it's not for
So what do you believe is happening? I would love for you to tell me what's happening and why you believe that is happening. What in the picture tells me that is what is happening.
I think he's covering for his little sister, and that's why she's so upset. And I think the guy in the tan is probably the dad who got brought in because the children were misbehaving. It was something big, because everyone's involved.
I disagree. I think it's a civil war. And I think the father's loyalist or the other side on the run, and the Puritans are interrogating the kids to find out where the dad really is.
Yeah, you can actually see.
But he told me that, so that's
You can see it in the entire, they all have royalist, fanciful type of garments, as opposed to the puritanical visitors here. And so they're looking for that guidance.
Yeah, that's what we were saying, that it is, if the children are being interrogated with regard to their parents, it may be something got to do with, could be, their religious background at that time, it could be something got to do with Cromwellian or Huguenot period. But,
that this is entitled, "And When Did You Last See Your Father?" Which the title alone kind of leads you to the conclusion that we had back here. This painting was done by W.F. Yeats, and it is about the English Civil War. What is happening is this is a royalist home, and the parliamentarians have come in and are interrogating the royalist family and looking for the father. He kind of leads us with this question of, what is the boy going to do? Because is he going to be honest, like he has been brought up, and being honest and not lying, and say where his father is or when he last saw him, or is he going to lie to protect his father? And it's speculated by everyone when I was researching it, and no one knows his exact intention of where this was going. So, as you can see, this activity really had you digging deep and thinking about what was going on. But on top of that, you had to constantly be changing your thinking. You can't just get stuck on one thing. And it's important for kids to realize that they might have to change their thinking over time. They have to be flexible, and it's okay to be flexible and change your thinking. It's something we have to do. We have to assimilate and accommodate those new ideas that are coming at us to get the bigger picture. So it's, like I said, this is something you can use in any subject area. All you have to do is pick an appropriate picture. I picked more of a history type thing because I'm a social studies person. And it could be introducing European history. But you could also start an English discussion on the two sides. So it has a wide range of use.
So it works in any, you just want to make sure it's relevant, whatever you're trying to have your students understand. So basically the essence behind cultures of thinking is this idea of making children's thinking visible. And the reason we want students' thinking to be visible is it helps us to know as teachers what they're thinking and how they're thinking. It also helps the students to know what they're thinking and how they're going about thinking. So we are, as teachers, being able to see this thinking helps us to foster their thinking and learning. We push them forward when we know where they're at and we know what's going on in their mind. So we kind of wanted to end this conference then, since it's around thinking, with a couple students' thoughts on thinking. And these are mostly from 5 and 6-year-olds. And it's just their thoughts on what's happening inside their mind. So. This was from a kindergartner who drew pictures of 2 hands being connected. So we have a couple minutes if there's any quick questions. We do have we do have a list of resources too, and it's on the website. So if you want to go into maybe being visible, any sites you went to, presentations from previous cultures of thinking are up there, just as a resource to you.
I expected when I walked in that door that this would be very technology oriented.